Good evening. I hereby call this regular meeting of the Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees by video conference to order. A quorum of the following board members is present. Vice President James Montoya.
Here.
Secretary Mindy Winslow.
Here.
Leah Beth Abt.
Here.
The Reverend James Irvin.
Here.
Dr. Tyrell Groman.
Here.
Mr. Farshid Nairmond.
Here.
We thank you for joining us tonight. If I may, I would like to start the meeting and ask Reverend Irvin if he would say a blessing for us as we start our meeting tonight.
Sure. Father, we're so thankful for this day. We thank you for your covering and your protection. We pray for the families that have contracted and suffers with the COVID-19 virus. We now just ask your guidance. We pray that you will protect the children of this district, the staff, the teachers. And then as we meet tonight, we pray that you will guide us and that we can make decisions.
March the 16th, Governor Greg Abbott granted a request by Attorney General Ken Paxton to temporarily suspend a limited number of open meetings laws to the extent necessary to allow telephone or video conference meetings in response to the coronavirus. In accordance with those suspended rules, we certify the following. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. Although the members of the board are not fully gathered in a central physical location, we do have Ms. Abt joining us via Zoom. We do have a quorum in attendance by video conference. We are meeting using the Zoom software application, which allows two-way communication. As we would at any in-person meeting, members of the public who have followed the instructions on the meeting notice for registering to speak during public comment will have that opportunity. If you would like to provide comment at a future meeting conducted by video conference or telephone, please follow the instructions on the meeting notice. All other meeting procedures will adhere to board adopted procedures to the extent practical. An audio recording of this meeting is being made and will be made available to the public at a later date. This Zoom software application allows for people to view and interact. We apologize in advance for any unforeseeable difficulties and ask for your patience as we navigate those. If you have any questions about these suspended laws, please call the Office of the Attorney General at 888-672-6787 or by email at toma@oag.texas.gov. The board will now conduct an executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Act and as allowed by Texas Government Code sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in open session. It is now 5:04 p.m. Thank you. Mindy, could we get you to hit the button for us? Are you back with us?
I am.
All right, just wanted to check in to make sure. And we've got everybody here. So the board is now reconvening into open session at 6:22 p.m. First item on our agenda tonight is a public hearing on the proposed 2020-2021 tax rate. After the presentation, viewers of this meeting will have an opportunity for input. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes and must pertain to the proposed tax rate presentation. Anyone wishing to give input or comment on the proposed tax rate should use the chat feature in the Zoom app to request an opportunity to speak. Use your full name in the request and ask to comment on the tax rate. Those wishing to comment will be taken in the order of their request. All right, Ms. Barbrick, are you with us tonight?
Yes, I am.
The floor is yours, ma'am.
All right. Good evening, President Fitch, board members, Superintendent Trujillo. I would like to share my screen and begin the public hearing on the adoption of the tax rate. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So this is the public hearing for the adoption of the tax rate. So I want to begin with a summary of what was adopted this year for the 2021 budget. This is the general operating budget. We have projected revenues of $59.292 million, as well as the same amount for expenditures, with a $0 change in fund balance, an estimated beginning fund balance of $29.3 million, and an estimated ending fund balance of $29.3 million. This budget was built based on a projected ADA of $5,675 and a tax rate of 1.0547. This is for the general operating. Debt service, we have projected revenues of just over $5 million and projected expenditures of $6.881 million for a change in fund balance, a decrease of $1.8 million. Our estimated beginning fund balance is $6.6 million, and our estimated ending fund balance will be $4.8 million. So the payments we are expecting this year are $6.88 million. Again, we are projecting a decrease in our fund balance, and that is planned. And this was built on a proposed tax rate of 0.245 cents. And now I'd like to open up for public comment.
Thank you, Ms. Barbrick. Les, do we have anyone indicating they wish to make a comment?
I have not received anything in the chat feature.
All right. We'll give it just another minute, and I'll remind everyone, anyone wishing to give input or comment on the proposed tax rate can use the chat feature in the Zoom app to request an opportunity to speak. Use your full name in the request and ask to comment on the tax rate. Are we still clear?
We are still clear, Ms. Fitch.
All right. We're going to close the public hearing at this time then. Item 5 on our agenda is public comment. Those wishing to address the board during public comment have emailed a request to the district by 4 p.m. today. This revised procedure was included and made part of our meeting notice. If you wish to speak at a future meeting, please refer to the meeting notice on the agenda for instructions on how to sign up for that. We have one request today. This request will be done bilingually. So the speaker will have 6 minutes so that we'll hear both English and I believe Spanish. And the speaker today is Christina Shepard. Ms. Shepard, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. You've got the
Beautiful.
floor. And Mr. Martin,
you.
you have time for us, correct?
Yes, ma'am, Madam President.
All right, thank you. Ms. Shepherd, the floor is yours.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. President Fitch, trustees, and Dr. Trujillo. I am Christina Shepherd, and I am blessed to be a bilingual teacher for Nacogdoches ISD. I will be providing public comment on behalf of the local members of Texas AFT. I will speak first in English and then give the same comment in Spanish. My experience in education and my previous career in the United States Army has made me strong and taught me to have faith in our nation's ability to endure and overcome hard times. I have learned that leadership is what makes us or breaks us. Fortunately, I work on a campus with excellent leadership. I am blessed to be a part of the turnaround at TJR. We have worked tirelessly and we have made huge improvements in our students' outcomes. However, many educators in the district work just as hard as we do, yet their efforts are not as successful. Whether it be at the campus or district level or both, there are apparent inequities among our campuses. We know some things in public education are not easy, but we believe we can and we must do better. All students and staff in Nacogdoches ISD deserve leadership that respect them and model how to follow uncomfortable but necessary safety protocols. We want to thank you for reading our letters over the last month. We also want to thank you for the changes made regarding the screening of students' temperatures. If screening temperatures catches even one student with a fever, we believe it is worth it, no matter how difficult or time-consuming it may be. We also want to thank you for the changes many of us learned just yesterday regarding students wearing masks. Asking students below the 3rd grade to wear a face mask will not be easy, but it is worth it. So thank you for changing the protocols. Since we have returned to work at our campuses, some have witnessed administrators and staff failing to comply with the district's mandate to wear masks or face shields. Some schools have not been provided with any information regarding who to go to for immediate resolution when safety protocols are violated. Now that our lives are literally in jeopardy, we can't wait for answers. Please help us get answers to our life-saving questions. There are now 10 calendar days before the first day of instruction. Just yesterday, many of us were told we will be required to teach virtually and face-to-face beginning August 31st. We feel unsure about starting school without enough time to not only plan academically for face-to-face and virtual instruction, but also prepare for the AB scheduling. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you and hope you make decisions that continue to show us you do appreciate our community, our health and safety, and how each of us plays a part in how we contain or allow this virus to spread with our schools, homes, and community. We continue to be available for committees and providing our expertise. Soy Christina Shepherd y tengo la bendición de ser maestra bilingüe de Nacogdoches ISD. Proporcionaré comentarios públicos en nombre de los miembros locales de Texas AFT. Mi experiencia en educación y mi carrera anterior del Ejército de los Estados Unidos me ha fortalecido y me ha enseñado a tener fe en la capacidad de nuestra nación para soportar y superar tiempos difíciles. He aprendido que el liderazgo es lo que nos hace o nos rompe. Afortunadamente, trabajo en una escuela con excelente liderazgo. Tengo la suerte de ser parte del cambio en TJR. Hemos trabajado incansablemente y hemos obtenido grandes resultados de nuestros estudiantes. Sin embargo, muchos educadores en el distrito trabajan tan duro como nosotros, pero sus esfuerzos no son tan exitosos. Ya sea a nivel de escuelas o distrito o ambos, existen aparentes desigualdades entre nuestras escuelas. Sabemos que algunas cosas en educación pública no son fáciles, pero creemos que podemos y debemos hacerlo mejor. Todos los estudiantes y el personal en Nacogdoches ISD merecen un liderazgo que los respete y sirva de modelo para seguir los protocolos de seguridad incómodos pero necesarios. Gracias por leer nuestras cartas durante el último mes. Queremos agradecerle los cambios realizados con respecto a la detección de la temperatura de los estudiantes. Si las temperaturas de detección detectan incluso a un estudiante con fiebre, creemos que le vale la pena, sin importar cuál lo difícil o lenta pueda ser. También queremos darle gracias por los cambios que muchos de nosotros aprendimos ayer con respecto a los estudiantes que usarán mascarillas. Pedir a los estudiantes de menos de 3er grado que usen mascarillas no será fácil, pero vale la pena. Gracias por cambiar los protocolos. Desde que regresemos al trabajo de nuestras escuelas, algunos han sido testigos que algunos administradores y personales no cumplieron con el mandato del distrito de usar mascarillas o protectores faciales. Algunas escuelas no han recibido información sobre a quién acudir para una resolución inmediata cuando se violan los protocolos de seguridad. Ahora que nuestras vidas están literalmente en peligro, no podemos esperar a recibir respuestas. Ayúdenos a obtener respuestas a nuestras preguntas que nos salvan vidas. Solo tenemos 10 días antes del primer día de instrucción. Nos enteramos ayer que enseñaremos de forma virtual y cara a cara. De partida al 31 de agosto, nos sentimos inseguros de comenzar la escuela sin suficiente tiempo, no solo para planificar académicamente la instrucción cara a cara, sino también para prepararnos a la programación A-B. Seguimos estando disponibles para los comités y aportando nuestra experiencia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Shepherd. Appreciate you being with us tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
We're now moving to the consent agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, all items listed will be acted on with one motion. If there's a board member who wishes to discuss an item on the consent agenda separately, please indicate the agenda letter and it will be set aside for further discussion and a separate vote. The floor is open for a motion.
Madam President, I move the board approve the budget amendment and consent agenda as a whole.
Thank you, sir. So we've got a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second, James Irvin.
Thank you, Reverend Irvin. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much. All right, we're now going to proceed with items on the discussion action portion of the agenda. I believe our first item is hazardous bus routes for the 2021 school year. And Mr. Martin, I believe you were going to report back to us. We had a few questions the other day, so.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Fitch, members of the board, Dr. Trujillo. I did visit with Mr. Lampkin and his staff about Park Street. We have declared it a hazardous bus routes, both for bus routes 30 and 24, of which we have added to the to our list to go with the hazardous bus routes for your approval. I will tell you that I did ask the questions of Mr. Lampkin. We do pull up into those housing entities over there. Our buses pull in there and pick the children up. They're not picked up right off of Park Street. However, if they were to walk to school, they would not have sidewalks to walk on. So therefore, we're recommending that they are hazardous bus routes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion.
I guess I'll go ahead again. Madam President, I move the board approve the submitted 2020-2021 hazardous bus routes and adopt the resolution regarding hazardous traffic conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Neermond. Do we have a second?
I second, Dr. Drummond.
Thank you, Dr. Groman. Is there any additional discussion on this item? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. The next item on our agenda tonight, 7B, consideration of the 2020-2021 Student Code of Conduct, and that comes back to Mr. Martin as well, and I believe you were going to supply some additional information to us on this one as well.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam President. Yes, the administration went back and took a closer look at the Student Code of Conduct, and we made a few adjustments as recommended by some of the board members who have brought some of these items to our attention. On our table of contents, just quickly, we changed just the title there on page 4, I believe it is. And then on page, I'm sorry, in the table of contents, on page 4, we struck number 2, which referred to during lunch periods in which a student is allowed to leave campus. We removed that. We also made a correction on page 7. We removed the last sentence of the paragraph, face masks should be free of writing, initials, and pictures, in light of our conversation with the board on Monday. As well, we added to, at the end of in the index, we have added the title face mask and shields back in the end of the booklet. Be happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Any questions or discussion? We'll entertain a motion. Thank you. We've got a motion by Mrs. Winslow. Do we hear a second? Thank you, Mr. Montoya. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That will take us to item 8 on our agenda, a construction update. Mr. Martin.
Thank you again, President Fitch, board members, Dr. Trujillo. I'm going to attempt to share my screen with you all. Let's see if this works this time. You're all able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to just do a quick update on some of our bond and other projects going on across the district. I supplied a copy of this PowerPoint in your board book. So getting started here, first of all, I'll tell you that on the 11th of August, the administration had a CBRIC meeting. That is the bond review committee of community members that was put together, a selection of folks that the board recommended be on this committee. We had a very good turnout on that night, and we showed them very much the same PowerPoint that we're going to present to you all tonight. What we have before you is a timeline calendar that Mr. LaRue and Mr. Omri Curtis put together for us at our request to give us an opportunity to gauge our projects and see where we are with regards to progress. It is a very detailed document, but I will also say that it is a very fluid document. It changes due to unfortunate acts such as COVID-19 or even weather events. As you all know, we had a lot of rain in early July, which slid our schedule a little bit on the Carpenter project over there because of just runoff, but we're back on schedule. So this is just a fluid document that we use to see where we are and to keep up and track our projects. We'll begin with Carpenter. There's just a few photos here. On February the 28th, 2020, this is what the site was looking like over there at Carpenter Elementary, the new Carpenter site right off Stallings Drive, right across from McMichael Middle School. On May the 7th, 2020, you started to see some plumbing and other electrical pipe work starting to come up the site, a lot of dirt work being done on this particular site. June 18th, we started to see a little rebar and a footing placement for a cement pour. And then on June 18th, we start seeing a foundation formed and a huge cement pour there. On the 18th, we also took some shots of the long Parent Drive here that comes out on East Main. And we're starting to see some columns go up, some rebar go up to form columns for our second floor. On the 18th, again, we are still just looking at, you see a form poured here, a footing poured here at this site. And you see some concrete, the wet concrete over here that's been poured. And our columns, they're starting to take shape. So at 4 a.m., Mr. LaRue frequently goes out and has a lot of fun. He went to the construction site that morning, and the cement crew was pouring cement, and he took this picture for us. It is a great picture, and it was shot with an iPhone, believe it or not. So thank you, Mr. LaRue, for getting up and doing all the things that you do across our district. This was a great shot, I thought, to share.
Absolutely.
On July the 30th, you start to see the driveway coming, the parent drive coming in from East Main over there. It is starting to take form with the cement being poured. And then on the left, again, they're still doing a little bit of dirt work, getting ready to pour some cement foundation over here. Taken today, Mr. Linebarger did me a favor and went out to the site and took some wonderful pictures. We're starting to see steel erected on the site. So it is really starting to take shape out there at the new Carpenter Elementary site. Here's just another angle of the steel being erected there. And Mr. Linebarger took us a picture of the finished drive. So that drive now, that parent drive is going all the way to East Main to our building site. Just a little bit more, and they will start working on the loop around, car loop around. So switching over to the Transportation Center, which we are very proud of. This project was, Mr. Army Curtis was the architect on this project. And this is a shot December the 5th, 2019. This was our old transportation building here. The only thing they had done at that time was actually remove a few items from the outside of it, grade a little bit of the parking lot to start really doing some demolition and some pouring of cement and pavement. If you'll recall, these are the drawings that the board approved from Curtis Architecture of a conceptual look at what the building was going to look like once it was completed. The topography map, if you recall, we were going to have over here to the right, we were going to have a bus wash. We were going to add some bays to the existing building. We were going to raise the platform of the building because it was on 3 different levels and make it all one level. Those were just some of the highlights of the project. And we were going to add space for our staff and to have a decent sized training room. January the 9th, 2020, you can see that the cement has been poured out here. It's still wet. The building still looks pretty much the same. At that time, not very much work had started other than over here where they had started our dispatch side of the building as well as the employee training area. February 27th. The building's starting to take shape. The training area here is starting to look like a training area, an added bay for buses. So we are now able to fit 6 buses inside of this transportation center, and our employees are not in the element. So we can fit those buses in, and they can close the doors, and they can run the fans, or they can run the heat in the wintertime, and they're not in the elements like they have been in the past. So we're very proud of that. To your left, this picture here at the top is the bus doors, the bus bay, one of the new bays being added. On your right here, we're looking at the bus wash system that has been added out there. And here again, here's the fans that I was talking about. Some of the big fans that have been added inside of the shop area to help keep our employees cool. May 7th, 2020. Here on the left, we have pretty close to a finished training room. They're finalizing some of the things on the inside. Over here on the right, we're looking at the fuel station. If you recall, we have been renting a fuel tank for a number of years. And now the district owns its own fuel tank, and this tank also serves diesel as well as gasoline, and will service our buses and our white fleet, which allows the district now to bid for fuel and find the best prices or the lowest prices on fuel costs. July the 16th was a happy day. We were getting very close to move-in date for our transportation employees. These are just some of the pictures of the finished product. Again, over here is the dispatch area, the training room. There is also accessible parking here for our patrons or parents who might want to come and speak with the transportation department. We have not had parking accessible in the past, and now we do. Down here at the bottom, you see the fuel station. We have the Texas Dragon logo up here, which looks very good. If you have an opportunity, please go out and take a look at this facility now. This really ties it all together. It is a great looking facility. If you take a look on your left, our Dragon Expresses now are not just sitting out in the sun. We had the forethought to put some type of covering for them. They were starting to fade. I'm sure Dr. Trujillo is going to bring up the point that there are 3 parks out there, but only 2 buses. So Mr. Lampkin and I are going to be talking to Dr. Trujillo in the near future about filling that 3rd parking spot. To your right, you see this is the training room. Just about finished here. You see they have a whiteboard in the middle. These are 2 75-inch LCD flat panel, just like we find in our classrooms. These will be used for training purposes. Here in the back, you can see the ice machine. This is the Sonic ice machine. And boy, this was almost a deal breaker. If we couldn't get that Sonic ice machine in there, our folks would not have been happy. So they also have a full kitchen on the other side of this wall here, and they have quite a few more restrooms than they had in the past. It's very nice facility out there. Something to be very proud of. Over here to your left is a shop bay area hanging down for our mechanics' convenience. Or we have air, oil, and water. They no longer have to carry or go and connect a hose. They have it right there conveniently for them, just like you would see at some of the newer vehicle plants or repair shops. On the right is, you see we've repainted and restriped our parking lot, repainted the poles out there. Again, makes it look very nice, ties it in with the football stadium, ties in with the baseball stadium. It is a very nice site. Also, there's, I didn't get a good shot of it, but there's oriental fencing that matches the fencing that goes around the stadium, the football stadium. So it all ties together. It's a beautiful place now. I'll move on to the McMichael expansion. On June the 4th, we've got some dirt work going on here. Again, we're adding some classrooms and a classroom wing to this facility to eventually have one middle school or one junior high. June the 18th, again, they've started some construction over here, laying out the groundwork and measurements for the new wing. Some plumbing work being done on the 18th, so some underground plumbing work there, and over here on your right side as well. I move on to the Nacogdoches Career and Technology Education Center. This was on July the 16th. These photos were taken. A lot of dirt work going on out there. Here at the bottom is a photo from July the 30th, I'm sorry. On the 30th also, they had laid some rebar and had also started and finished pouring part of a concrete parking lot that was moved from the rear on Maroney Drive to basically the side of the building, the high school building coming off of Appleby Sand and Maroney. Moving on, the District Support Center. Again, architect Army Curtis has, again, his conceptual drawing here of the District Support Center. This is what the front entry view is expected to look like once completed. You all approved, the board approved the drawings and the design phase of this. These colors, all these colors represent different areas throughout the building. For instance, purple is curriculum, green is communications, blue is business offices, red is admin, human resources is down here in a magenta looking color. On May 15th, we took these photos. This is a lot of demolition work down out there at the District Support Center, new District Support Center. Again, some movement of some walls, some taking out of walls, just some photos here. August 7th, more recent pictures, you can start to see some walls taking shape here on these photos, the one to the left and the one to the right. Again, some photos of the walls taking shape, sheetrock being put in place. Our Spirit Lobby concept by Mr. Curtis, again, this again is the conceptual drawing of what it is going to look like, and we are looking forward to utilizing this space in the very near future. I want to thank the board and our community for your support on these projects. I will tell the board that all of our projects are within scope and on time and within budget at this point in time. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
You gotta take that footnote off. You said within budget at this time.
Yeah,
We're gonna stay on budget, right?
Our goal is to stay on budget. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Martin?
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to comment that the work that the staff and people with NISD have done to ensure better facilities for our kids and our community is really starting to take shape. I know these are hard times, but when you take a drive down McMack, when you see the construction and you see all the stuff that's being done to improve our school district, it seems like it was forever since we sat down and even talked about doing a bond and getting some money to do this. And it's really exciting. I know that with what we got going on right now, it's a little more difficult, but boy, in the future, we're going to have some great things in NISD. And I'm really glad. I'm really glad.
Thank you for that, Mr. Montoya. I work with a group of wonderful people that touch a lot of these documents, that go to a lot these sites, that from the business office to the office of the superintendent to Ralph LaRue and the plant services group I could name just many, many folks who have a hand in the development of these plans and these projects. And we can't thank you all enough for supporting us in this endeavor.
Good. Any other questions? You know me, I've always got a question or two, but first I want to make a comment. And, you know, seeing those, and I did have a chance, probably last week, I think it was, I drove out to the transportation center and kind of drove around, and wow, what an improvement. So proud of that. And it reminded me of the morning that we got up early. What time was it? 5 a.m., 6 a.m.? It was before the sun was up. We were doing a site visit in Grand Prairie, and we met up at transportation. And I tell you, Stacy Lampkin, I hope you're with us tonight. It was so very impressive watching those bus drivers out there at before dawn. It was still dark, and they were out there walking around the buses, doing the safety checks. Yes, it was. You know, turning the buses on, lighting them up, warming them up, and it was really an impressive sight. So great team that we have out there, and are so thankful for it. Question.
Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Do we have a timeline in place for when transportation is going to be finished, and are we looking at ribbon cutting dates or anything like that?
Ms. Fitch, transportation, our employees are all moved in and they're ready to go. They're ready for school start. We do plan to have a ribbon cutting at a future date when we can kind of get out of this COVID situation so that we can do it right.
You also mentioned at the beginning that you did have a meeting with the Seabrook the other day and presented this information to them. Did they have any comments, suggestions, ideas, anything at all that we need to report back up?
No, ma'am, they did not. They just wanted a copy of the timelines, which we will supply them, as well as a copy of the budget that was presented at the last Seabrook meeting.
Super. When we sure do appreciate all of the volunteers that are serving on that committee and assisting with that bond project. Thank you. Anything else before we move on? All right. All right. I might put my glasses back on, guys. Let's see. Our next item on the agenda is an executive closed session. Let's see. The board will now conduct an executive session to discuss the items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Act and is allowed by Texas Government Code Section 551.074. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in open session. It is now 7:01 p.m. Oh, there's Kelly.
Kristen, you look tired.
Oh no, not at all. I'm wide awake.
You're like 5 feet. You're full screen.
Got a lot of work done though.
Les, did you hear that by chance? We need to.
What's that?
We need to know if the Hamptons are back on, and Mrs.
Summer, what's her face?
Anybody have the score on the Lakers game?
No, I don't.
Do you want to go ahead and admit them?
Yes, we're ready to wrap this.
There's a few other folks that are in there as well that have hung with us.
It's open session.
Yeah, go ahead, Kirsten, admit them in. All right, Ms. Fitch, think everybody's out of the waiting room now.
All right. Do we have Miss Summer Grohowski with us? Grohowski?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, thank you. And Sydney, are you with us? Sydney Hampton, are you with us?
Yes, we're here. Thank you.
Thank you. Want to make sure. All right, and we've got Leah Beth. So I think we've got everybody.
Yes.
All right. We're here too. We're getting a little tired. All right. It is now 9:32 p.m. and we're going to come back into open session. The board has concluded its hearings and deliberations. The board did not take any vote or other action in closed meeting. So we're now going to move to item 9B, level 3, 9B1, level 3 grievance, Mrs. Summer Groleski. Do I hear a motion?
Madam President, I move to uphold the decision made by the administration at level 2.
Thank you, Mr. Montoya. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Do we have anyone abstaining?
Shane Newman abstains.
Okay. So we have a motion from Mr. Montoya, a second from Mrs. Winslow. Mr. Neermond is abstaining. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is 9B2, level 3 grievance with Miss Sydney Hampton. Do I hear a motion? All right, hearing no motion. Holly, are you with us? Holly Anderson, can you hear me?
Yes, I am. I'm here.
All right, thank you, ma'am. If you would, we would like to put item 9B2 on our next agenda, regular meeting.
I think it's actually 10A2.
Is that with it?
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's what I'm
apologize.
sorry. I just
Thank you
noticed
for that correction, Mindy. I apologize. It is action 10A2. I apologize for our next regular meeting.
I'll have that on the September agenda.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to our final item, 11, our adjournment. Do I hear a motion?
This is Mindy, and I move we adjourn quickly.
We have a motion by Mrs. Winslow, a second by Mr. Montoya. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you soon, Miss App.
Yes.
Stay safe.